I'm Cora Weiss, and I've been called a civil rights, human rights, women's rights, and peace activist. But in a word, it's a peace and justice activist. I was among the handful of women drafters of what the Security Council unanimously adopted as 1325 on women, peace, and security. That's about the clearest, most important thing I think I've done in global security, aside from working in the anti-Vietnam War movement. On June 12, 1982, 1 million people, according to the police, filled Central Park and said goodbye nuclear weapons. I was among the organizers of that event. Governments won't move unless people push. There's nothing more important than well-organized public opinion from global civil society. Civil society has to guarantee the maintenance and sustainability of democracy, of human rights, of peace. Since Trump was elected, there hasn't been a Saturday without a huge demonstration on issues pertaining to human rights, peace, civil rights, justice, and climate change. Civil society is on the street, and it's calling for decency and for democracy. Start with the civil rights movement in the 50s, the sit-ins. They created the Voting Rights Act. We move on to the anti-war demonstrations. American people did not support the war against the Vietnamese people, and they were very clear about it on the streets, and especially in teach-ins in the universities, where we educated people about who are the Vietnamese and why is there a war. Then we had the Ban Treaty of banning landmines, for which Jody Williams got a Nobel Peace Prize, and that was strictly motivated by civil society. It was followed by the cluster bomb ban treaty, again organized by civil society. And perhaps the most important to me, they're all important, but to me, was Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security, which said women have to participate at every level of decision-making and governments have to prevent violent conflict. And the Security Council adopted that unanimously. That includes the country we're in and all the other nuclear weapons countries. So that was a very impressive resolution, and it was drafted by women, including this woman. "10,000 people gathered in The Hague in May of 1999 on the centennial of the world's first peace congress of 1899. ABC News called it the largest peace conference in history. It produced the Hague Agenda for Peace and Justice for the 21st Century, which is a program of 50 points going from the culture of violence to a culture of peace. It's as good today as it was when it was written, and it is an official UN document, A/54/98. So it's a pretty important document. And it was civil society sitting at the same table with heads of state, heads of government, men and women equally. That created a pretty important precedent that heads of state and government should have the same place at the table as mere mortal citizens. And they came from over 100 countries. The Hague Appeal for Peace was nominated for the Nobel Prize twice, and I was the president and worked hard to make it happen. The Hague Appeal for Peace had two banners: Peace is a Human Right and Time to Abolish War. 1999, time to abolish war. And we weren't called crazy. The agenda is built on 4 columns: root causes of war, culture of peace; international humanitarian and human rights law and institutions; prevention, resolution, and transformation of conflict; and disarmament and human security. It's an agenda. It tells you in 50 points how to get to a culture of peace from the present culture of violence. And I think it's as relevant today as it was 18 years ago. Nothing much has changed. It says that militarism and militaries don't bring peace anymore. I don't know of any war we've fought that we've won since the Second World War, or that was really necessary or useful or just. It's time to study peacemaking, and it's time to put peace education into every classroom and into every community. It's time to look up in your state who the civil liberties organizations are, who the peace action organizations are, that you can join. You can volunteer, and you can study War No More.